Yeah. So the biggest thing that I've kind of learned, and I really, coach into our team is that, solutions have to really, match up the where the company is today versus where they want to be. The forward-thinking goal is fantastic, but it has to be able to work in the here and the now.
Out there. This is Jesse Zdonek again with Dynaway Dialogues. Great to have you guys logging on again. I want to welcome two kind of buddies of mine, actually, Clayton Loden and Scott Zeedyk from ERP Automated. I'm excited to have them today. So, they specialize in maintenance reliability, D365 Finance and Supply Chain, managed services, and really on a mission to help customers kind of get more out of their solution. We've worked with these guys for a long time. They're special, close partners with the Dynaway. In fact, Clayton, I think, you can talk about this if you want, but you actually worked at Dynaway for a while, and that's how we got to be friends. So looking forward to having you on today. Welcome.
Yeah, great to be with you, Jesse.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah, cool. So just, if you don't mind, introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about your journey to becoming, a managing partner there at ERP Automated, and kind of the mission of your company.
Yeah. So I started back in 2008 working in the Dynamics ecospace and moved to a couple different places. And in 2012, I met Scott at a Dynamics ISV we were working at. And from there, we moved on into working for some of the larger partners. Ended up going into independent consulting, working for Dynaway, focused on the asset management side of the house. We started working these Dynaway projects, working many different customer implementations, and found a lot of areas of opportunity in the inventory management, finance, maintenance reliability space, and was able to bring Scott in to help on some of those projects where we lacked expertise on the Dynaway side in finance and inventory, and then from there kind of spun out ERP Automated.
Gotcha. How'd you come on, Scott? What was your take on meeting Clayton for the first time?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started 2008, 2009 working for an end user of AX 2009 at the time. We were going through the implementation, so that's really how I became familiar with this ERP. And fast forward to where Clayton and I met, I kind of flipped over to the consulting side. I just really enjoyed the project. It was a lot of fun. Really getting to see how entire business really connects together through the back end ERP system. And yeah, we hit it off right away. We played a lot of ping pong, I think, at that partner site. That was fun. And then we kind of ended up sort of splitting ways in the future. We both went to different partnerships from there, and then both ended up going independent. And it was kind of a great mesh of skill sets. Clayton was really well versed in the asset management and supply chain side of the house, and I worked on all the finance modules. My background is in accounting, and it was just a perfect sort of combination and mesh of skill sets at the time. And we had so much work that we really just couldn't do ourselves, and we thought, this makes sense to bring somebody on and start to train them and get up to speed. So we really kind of built this thing organically through our own sweat equity, and we started, I think, in September 2021, the partnership that we have, and we're still going strong here in January 2025. So
yeah, that's incredible. Yeah. That's really, really cool. Tell me a little bit about over your careers. I know you've worked in a lot of projects. What's kind of been your lessons you've learned? What's the philosophy of the company?
Yeah, so the biggest thing that I've kind of learned, and I really coach into our team, is that solutions have to really match up the where the company is today versus where they want to be.
Mhm.
You know, the forward thinking goal is fantastic, but it has to be able to work in the here and the now. So what we really like to do, or what the biggest lesson I've learned, is to to lay the railroad track for the future, but make sure that the solution that's going in today can operate with the current, you know, the people and the process that currently exists. Of course, we always want to keep a mind on, you know, what are the organizational goals in the near and long term future. But every solution, it really has to work for today, and it has to, you know, lay the foundation for tomorrow as well.
Mm. I came across a post on ERP's Automated, on a post from ERP Automated, and it was basically on MRO, maintenance reliability, and operations. You know, for those listening out there, kind of explain this concept and why it's critical and kind of what you do, what you guys do.
Yeah, maintenance repair operations, MRO, some people call it maintenance reliability, maintenance repair. It's just all about the activities, tools, and processes that companies need to keep their assets in good working order. That goes across all the different departments: maintenance, engineering, procurement, storeroom, operations, finance, health and safety. We come in and help companies develop that quality data, good solid processes, and that culture across the maintenance shop, the inventory, procurement, and finance group to kind of have that interworking relationship. When all things are humming along together in harmony with those good processes, good data, good culture, it typically tends to lead to lower mean time between failure and lower cost of ownership.
Right. Right. Yeah, I see this a lot. We're really good. Obviously, Dynaway's really good on the asset side, and I see a lot of projects that I know you've worked on, Clayton, where inventory control, that's kind of a second piece of that. You got to have great reliability on your assets, but you also have to have just-in-time parts, so you can not let those assets sit while you're waiting on stuff to come in. So I know from personal experience that's where some of your projects have been the best, because a lot of times when companies come to us and say, hey, we really want you to straighten out our supply chain and our inventory control, and that's not really our wheelhouse, and ERP Automated has been dynamite in that capacity.
Yeah. We tend to see, MRO is, it's based off data-driven decisions. You can't really, you can't manage what you can't measure. So it's continuous improvement, similar to personal health. Like 6 months ago, I got a blood test, came back with different markers, different levels. Been working for 6 months, working out, eating healthy, and then next week I get a second blood test and see where those levels are. It's the same thing, same concept with MRO. Is when you have that good data, good processes, good culture, you can use that data to kind of see where you're at and see the health of your assets, the health of your manufacturing plant floor, and use that to turn the knobs and improve things.
Make adjustments. Absolutely. Could you give us an example of a business successfully kind of using these concepts, and what kind of impact it had on them?
Yeah, so we had a customer a couple of years ago, a greenfield plant, brand new. All equipment, all assets, all spare parts were just dumped on the site. There's just hallways full of parts. The floor is just full of assets, and the manufacturer refused to provide, like an Excel sheet of all the asset naming conventions, all the part naming conventions, what parts go to which assets. So we had a full team out there, walking through each asset, documenting serial number, a good quality asset name, so it's very easily searchable. And then in the parts side, documenting all the information about the parts, so you can easily find the part when you need it, and tying that back to which machine it goes to. And then after that, after that part's done, we help them develop PM programs for all of their assets, going through each individual asset and going through those top priorities of routine preventive maintenance that need to be performed on it. So yeah, out of that, it really helped them to have a solid program in place and have a solid plan for keeping their assets up and running.
Yeah, awesome. That's fantastic. Did technology play a part in this? How does technology accelerate this, or get in the way, or how does it affect it?
Yeah, two specific areas where we focused recently on technology would be sensors and counters, and having those
Hmm.
things integrate into D365 and Dynaway asset management, so then work orders can automatically be triggered, whether they be oil changes on vehicles based on revolutions of miles in the tires, or whether it be some an inspection for heat sensors tripping or vibration sensors tripping. Those that is that It's been pretty cool to integrate that data and see how the MRO team can really be proactive in preventing things from breaking down versus
Hmm.
they didn't know it was getting hot and then all of a sudden it broke down. Now you have a machine down. Um, Other areas, obviously, we've talked about inventory and master planning. We've been in a few of these maintenance shops where maintenance parts will be segregated off from raw materials,
Yeah.
and it's the maintenance technicians that kind of manage their own inventory. And more than once, we've seen where been a bit of a competitive game where technicians will hide certain gaskets and
Right.
sprockets and spare parts because they know where their parts are, but someone else might need that as well. And it's just this
Right.
game of hiding and taking, and really implementing inventory best practices, getting those parts on shelves in bins, properly counted, properly labeled. Being able to use things like scan guns for picking and
Hmm.
post
Hmm.
real-time inventory
Hmm.
adjustments and consumption, and then that flowing back into master planning. So now you have, proper and timely reordering of critical spare parts. So, uh, you know, maintenance technicians don't need to hide parts from each other.
Yeah.
So those are two areas of technology that we see quite often when we get involved in MRO asset management projects.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, we see that too on our side where someone starts kind of all just emergency, and parts are and assets are just chaotic, and then they'll move to a little bit more time based PM. Eventually, they'll get to counter based, or some sort of runtime based maintenance,
Yeah.
and eventually, like you were talking about with sensors and different data that we can bring in, uh, customers can eventually see some sort of predictive maintenance happening, and that's the evolution. I see it all the time, and I know you guys have seen it in your projects, and I've seen you take companies from the beginning to the end. So that's
Yeah.
fantastic. Let me ask you about this. I know last year you wrote an article about manufacturing trends in 2024, but let me pick your brain a little bit. What's going to be the trends in 2025 and beyond? What do you see on the horizon since you're in the middle of it?
Yeah, we see smart manufacturing just continuing to improve, and a lot of these companies that Jesse, a couple of years ago doing work orders off Excel, or
Yeah,
getting an actual CMMS in place. They're actually
yeah,
getting standard processes and procedures in place, and more companies are seeing the value in putting time and effort into the maintenance reliability side of the house. So we see, technology growth, smart manufacturing with, just like Scott just mentioned, the floors being able to provide more information to the maintenance team so we can move from a corrective, reactive side to more preventive, predictive side. I mean, and that's just continuing as we go here. But, there's a lot of companies out there that got a lot of work to do, and there's some that are more on top. There's just different levels of adoption in our customer base, and we're trying to get them all to that more preventive focused approach.
yeah. We see it a lot, and the customers are all over the spectrum. I talked to somebody today, and he basically told me we're not even doing any preventive maintenance at this plant. We want to get there, but then I see other customers that are always asking about how, what kind of sensors, how can I have more automated um, monitoring, and so it's a wide range, and you have to take baby steps. So I know you guys see it out there as well. Well, let me ask you about Dynaway Connect. So I know you guys are going to be presenting there. Mike Mason, Morgan from your company is going to be there. share with us a kind of a brief teaser of what they're going to be talking about and what we're going to be learning.
Yeah, so they'll be Mike and Morgan are both former industry people, former maintenance manager, maintenance director, inventory specialist, inventory manager people. So that's kind of the value we feel we bring to the market is we have folks who have been in the industry for many, many years and are just kind of moving over to the consulting side. So they feel your pain. They feel the pain of the customers out there, but they're going to be speaking on those experiences from the end user side and how to bring those into life and into their implementation or into their installment of D365.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think they're alumni speakers. They got great ratings last year. I remember the surveys, so I'm excited to hear them again. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
All right. Since you have a lot of experience in the industry, what are you looking forward to in Connect? Are these events, are they, you've attended a lot of them. Are they, do they help customers grow? What's your opinion on these types of industry events in the first place?
Yeah, I think the Dynaway CONNECT, is very beneficial for customers that are looking at implementing asset management or looking at utilizing the Dynaway products and tools that are available to add on to asset management. You go to the bigger conferences, the summits, you're not going to get that dialed in information that you're going to get here. So I'm really looking forward to get together with a small community of folks. It's kind of like a family reunion in a way.
Yeah.
Every single year. So, and looking forward to talk to folks about their MRO challenges and help point them in the right direction.
Gotcha. Is there any advice you could give those guys? What should they do to take away the most out of this kind of conference?
Yeah, absolutely. And, like Clayton said, this is so focused in a very specific area within the system and also the business that I just think it's awesome to, you're going to connect with a lot of people that are going to share your same story or similar issues and goals. The big conferences are fantastic, but, when you're painting with such a huge, broad brush, it can sometimes be hard to really get the specific, topics that you want. Versus this one, you're here for asset management and Dynaway and all the functionality that Dynaway brings to the table. I like to tell people, come with your list of your challenges. Think about what those are ahead of time. Write those down. Think about what are your goals. Where do you want to be in 1 year and 5 years from now? Write those things down. There's going to be so many people that will, like I said, have shared very similar experiences, have a similar story. They'll just maybe be at a different chapter in the book. And so they might already be where you're thinking of being next year, and they can kind of help you get through where you are today. And then that same, person can talk to somebody that's already where they want to be in 5 years. And I just think that this is a great opportunity, but you just got to be prepared and don't be shy. Talk to as many people as you can, shake hands, and just come with an open mind and great attitude. And I think it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. To add on to that, I would agree with you that try not to be shy. Operations people and IT people sometimes can be a little introverted instead of extroverted. And just remember, these people are going through the same thing. So, sit down with somebody you don't know, maybe not the guy that came with you, and try to talk to him. And you'll make friends fast, I'm sure, and you'll get a lot out of it. So that would be my advice as well. Okay, well, that kind of brings us to the end of the episode. I want to thank you guys for coming on. We hope this is good advice that some people pick something up on this podcast. Please remember, guys out there in the world listening to this, like, follow, subscribe, help us out. If something's interesting, don't hesitate to shoot us a comment and give us some advice. We'd love that. Thanks, guys, for joining, and that'll be it for Dynaway Dialogues this episode. See you next time.